What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? So we have a lot of news going on today. Lots of stories that I saw. First of all, as I stated the day before, the whole serial killer in Chicago. Well, now they're saying that there was a serial killer in New Orleans. Let me see. Let me go to that story. So there was a killing spree in Harlem. He killed 2 people and wounded several others in a days-long Harlem slashing spree. They've charged this bloodthirsty murder with a rash of random slashings in Harlem that claimed the lives of 2 people. On Friday, Dr. Bruce Maurice Henry, a respected pediatrician, was found dead in a pool of blood at Marcus Garvey Park on a stairway nearly after 2 a.m. His throat had been slashed and he'd been stabbed multiple times. Hours later, 35-year-old Roland Coddington was spotted driving the victim's 2021 Mercedes-Benz. The suspects found with 4 other people, but told the police to let them go as he was the one behind the slaying. As authorities worked to piece together the motive, they learned that Dr. Henry was not only the victim of Coddington, was not the only victim. His murderous reign began on December 19th when he fatally slit the throat of James Cunningham as he was leaving a bar. Cunningham was found dead on Avenue A near East 13th around 1 a.m. with a 10-inch slash from across his neck on December 22nd. Just days after his first murder, Coddington entered Teddy's Bar and Grill on 2nd Avenue, holding a baseball bat and a pit bull. He then attacked the bartender and others with a bat before stabbing him. After the bar stabbings, Coddington allegedly went home before going for a walk to cool off. It was at some point during this stroll that he encountered Dr. Henry. The two had some sort of exchange, though it's not immediately known the full extent. At this point, the deranged man killed the physician. Yeah, just wild. Just wild. There was a Florida man arrested for shooting and killing his ex-girlfriend over unanswered texts and calls. Carlos Lamont, 23, is accused of shooting Shadayla Johnson 15 times in the back as she was leaving for work on Tuesday. Her father, Torrance Clark, told police he heard shots and saw Jones staring at the house. According to arrest report, Clark ran outside after hearing the gunshots and found Johnson face down on the carport floor. He said the two had been living together until about 2 weeks ago when they broke up. Jones had reportedly then been continuously calling and harassing her in efforts to get back with her, which she refused to acknowledge. Jones' mother convinced him to turn himself in to the police, and he subsequently confessed to murdering Johnson. He then told police he was not remorseful and that if he had the opportunity, he'd do it again. He would kill his ex and her father. What a freaking loser. Let's see what else is going on. 2 elderly black women were kicked off of Amtrak because their support dog pooped. That was wild. Let's take a listen to this.
Like I said, first thing, map that you guys can train. Second thing, if they're willing to basketball,
these cowards can't even come up and tell them why. They just have to send the cops. a beautiful lady, by the way, and Merry Christmas. And that's a sweet dog you have. She's blind in one eye. I guess Amtrak doesn't expect their little dog to poop.
Well, do not take your dogs on Amtrak, obviously, because, yeah, it says according to Amtrak on board and station guidelines, dogs cast up to 20 pounds are welcome on trips up to 7 hours, but the animal must be in a closed carrier under the person's seat. According to the video, isn't clear. They released a statement, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, they had to get kicked off by the police. A Buffalo woman dies after being trapped inside her car for 18 hours. I do know that they put a driving restriction because so many people passed away this weekend. She was only 22 years old and she was found dead in her car on Christmas Eve after sending a video to her parents of her trapped in her car during the recent blizzard. Andell Taylor was trapped in her car for 18 hours as a storm pounded upstate New York. She's one of the least of the 28 people killed, and she was caught in the storm while driving home from work in Buffalo on Friday. The New York Post reported she sent several videos to her sisters in North Carolina, with the last sent around midnight. The video showed her rolling down her car window to show a nearby van also stuck in a stove. She was telling my sister that she was scared. One of Taylor's sisters said she called 911 and she was waiting for them. Her mom, Wanda Brown, said, but everybody that tried to get to her got stuck. Her sister, Tamisha Brown, added, fire department, police, everybody got stuck. She said, which was questionable since New York is a state that is known for snow. Why didn't emergency vehicles have the ability to operate during this monster storm? Taylor had moved to Buffalo from Charlotte in 2021 to help care for her ailing father. Taylor told her sisters that she would go to sleep and try walking to safety if help had not arrived when she woke up. Her mom said the family said people were out trying to locate Taylor and had been desperately alerted relatives in Buffalo to go back out there again. That's when they busted open the window and seen that she was in there. So very, very sad. Yeah, I mean, Buffalo does get a lot of snow. I guess it's going to be weird, the fallout for this, especially people still having people work during this time. It's kind of like, why would you have people work knowing that the storm was like that? So the bail project shuts down after suspect bails out and shoots a Vegas man. The bail project has closed its doors after a lawsuit was filed by a man who was shot by a serial criminal who was bailed out by the organization. According to the reports, the bailout organization was backed by celebrities like John Legend, Danny Glover, and Richard Branson. The incident occurred last year after the organization posted a $3,000 bail for Rashawn Gaston Anderson. Gaston Anderson had been arrested for burglary, among other crimes, including grand theft. 6 days after his release, he walked into a restaurant and shot a Las Vegas resident 7 times. Fortunately, the victim survived, but not without long-lasting injuries. So they shut that one down. Kim Kardashian opens up about co-parenting with Kanye. It's really effing hard. It's like, Kim, you had a baby by this man. Let's listen, even though it pains me. It pains me, but let's listen.
Through something, but if we're riding to school and they want to listen to their dad's music, no matter what we're going through and no matter what is happening in the world, like, I have to have that smile on my face and blast his music and sing along with my kids and act like nothing's wrong. As soon as I drop them off, I can have a good cry or, text back and do what I got to do. But it's like, I had the best dad. I don't want to get emotional.
No.
It's just been a day for me. But like,
it's been a time
in my home. Like, I could be going through something, but it's hard. Shit is like co-parenting. It's really fucking hard, and like,
you're not co-parenting with just anyone.
Yeah.
Or the quietest, easiest.
But I had the best dad. And I had the best memories and the greatest experience. And that's all I want for my kids. As long as they can have that, that's what I would want for them. You know? So, like, if they don't know things that are being said or what's happening in the world, like, why would I ever bring that energy to them? It has been. You know, it's hard.
You know, do you guys feel bad for Kanye or Kimmy? Listen, welcome to the world of having baby daddies and baby mama drama. I mean, it's kind of like when you pick these people, this is kind of who you get stuck with, unfortunately. I mean, Kanye had a reputation before he got with Kim. And I know that some people think they can fix people, but yeah. So, there was one more, it's just been a really crazy news day with all these murders, but there was a homeless model killed by a roommate after complaining about the woman's behavior. A viral model who had fallen on hard times was brutally stabbed to death by her former roommate in a New York City shelter. Victoria Good was just 27 years old, trying her best to make her mark in the world of fashion. The stunning woman had walked runways for several brands and even appeared on the cover of Vogue Mexico. Sadly, she struggled to find steady work in recent months, though she never stopped searching. Good was forced to move into a Project Renewal New Providence women's shelter on East 45th Street, where she paired with a 42-year-old Charmaine Kaufman. Before their violent confrontation, Good confided in her family that she was fearful of Kaufman. She went to the shelter staff directly to express her concerns, to no avail. James' father said his daughter told Kaufman would often speak of the devil and was more than a jerk to Good. The disturbing behavior took a turn for the worse on December 16 when Kaufman began spraying air freshener at the victim because the music in the room was being played too loud. Good responded by throwing a blanket at her. This was when the altercation turned deadly. Kaufman stabbing Good several times with a knife. Another resident at the shelter, Melinda Anders, was on the second floor when she heard the screaming from the sixth floor and went to investigate. Once upstairs, she saw Good mangled body and blood on the floor. So that is a sad story, man. You know, it's just, I don't know, you know. I try to not have hard news stories for you guys, but this is what has been going on. Whoopi Goldberg has come under fire following her latest historical inaccurate statement about the Holocaust. Whoopi's kind of always in trouble with the Holocaust. So after Goldberg said the Holocaust wasn't originally about race in an interview published Saturday, Jewish leaders condemned the remarks as historically inaccurate and offensive. Whoopi Goldberg faces a fresh round of backlash after that. She said the controversy marks the second time this year Goldberg, 67, has come under fire for what Jewish leaders and Holocaust experts say are inaccurate and offensive comments about the Nazi-sponsored mass murder of 6 million European Jews from 1933 to 1945. Goldberg made the latest remarks in an interview published Saturday after reporters said Nazis saw Jews as a race, referring to Goldberg's comments in January when she claimed the Holocaust was not about race. Yes, but that's the killer, isn't it? Goldberg told the Sunday Times reporter. The oppressor is telling them what you are. Why are you believing them? They're Nazis. Why believe what they're saying? It wasn't originally about race, Goldberg continued. Remember who they were killing first. They were not killing racial, they were killing physical. They were killing people they considered to be mentally defective, and they made this decision when the reporter told Goldberg that the Nazis measured heads and noses of Jews to prove they were a distinct race. Goldberg replied, they did that to black people too, but it doesn't change the fact that you could not tell a Jew on the street, you could find me, you couldn't find them. That was the point I was making, but you would have thought that I've taken a big stinky old dump on the table but naked. Goldberg apologized for the statement on Tuesday evening following criticism on the interview. She said she was trying to convey why she made the original comment and recount that what she was thinking at the time. It was never my intention to appear as if I was doubling down on hurtful comments, especially after talking with and hearing people like rabbis and old and new friends weighing in. Goldberg said, I'm still learning a lot, and believe me, I heard everything everyone said to me. I believe that the Holocaust was about race, and I'm still as sorry now as I was then that I said hurt anger people. She ended the statement by saying her support for the Jewish community has not wavered and never will. So, hopefully, that is the last they hear of that. Let's see what else is going on. Three people in Arizona fell through ice. Not sure why they were on that lake. Southwest Airlines has been canceling thousands of flights and they enraged passengers. And as I said before, if you're flying during the holidays, why? Like, why? The airlines have not been the same since COVID hit, and I just don't even know why. Why would you do it? Even on a regular flight, in a regular time, it's just a no-no. Let's see what else is going on. Lawmakers and staffers must delete TikTok from any house-issued mobile phones and are prohibited from downloading the proper app on those devices. 10 of 13 people Dominican authorities accused of attempting to murder the Major League Baseball player David Ortiz have been convicted. Yeah, they tried to take David Ortiz out. They put a hit on him. I guess he had stole someone's girlfriend or something. That was pretty wild. This George Santos. So this guy, he's a congressman-elect, and people are wanting him to resign. So he's facing increasing calls to resign after he admitted that he fabricated parts of his resume, including information about his education, employment history, in a bombshell investigation on December 19th. The New York Times said it was unable to substantiate many of his alleged qualifications, such as he worked for Goldman Sachs, the Citigroup, and he graduated from Baruch College. He also made LGBTQ history when he won the November race on New York, which covers part of Long Island and Queens, admitted to what he described as overstating and embellishing of his qualifications in at least 3 interviews. A lot of people overstate their resume or twist it a little bit. I'm not saying I'm guilty of that. In an interview, he said he did not graduate from that college or any institution of higher learning. I'm embarrassed and sorry for having embellished my resume, he said. I own up to that. We do stupid things in life. He then apologized. I didn't. Yes, I did, and I'm sorry I shouldn't have. In a previous statement, he began working at Citigroup, but I think he was he was working at Dish Network, which is nothing to frown upon, man. You can just have said you were a regular worker. He also said that he was Jewish, but now he's saying I never claimed to be Jewish. I'm Catholic because I learned my maternal family had a Jewish background. I said I was Jewish. So this guy is pretty funny. He's in the right career, right? Politicians lie. So I think he's got the right profession. I think he just maybe told too many lies all at once is what happened with him. The Supreme Court is extending their border thing. So the Trump era Title 42 immigration policy allowing asylum seekers to quickly be returned away is back in effect. So not sure what that means. I don't know if all those people that are waiting to cross, they're saying, no, you can't come. Because, yeah. So that is it, man. I mean, like I said, it was a lot of news today, and I'm sorry to bring you so much death because that really sucks. But, it's just, I don't know. People are the end of the year is happening, and a lot of unfortunate things are happening, and a lot of cuckoo things are happening. Bob Marley's grandson, Joseph Mercer Marley, was found dead in his vehicle. Not sure if they said he was found unresponsive. He had endured a lifelong battle with asthma and announced that he had a lethal asthma attack, which claimed his life. So, that's unfortunate. Yeah, man, it is wild out there. Um, let's just jump into some story times. Hopefully, I have some lighthearted stories. I never remember what I picked for you guys, but hopefully they're good. So let's get into it.
So look, if you're wondering why I'm whispering, that's because it's going to help my embarrassment. Because I really rather have sucked 1,000 dicks straight out of a locker room in a playoffs game than tell this story. But yeah, here I am today, right? Okay? So like, right when I was fresh 18, I mean, Jaime had just broke. You know what I'm saying? My mama kind of is that girl in the music industry, or she was at some point. She's been like everybody's vocal trainer. So my mom was working on this show with this group. Girl, that group was getting back together, so on and so forth. So this man, of course, he seen me being a bartender. You feel what I'm saying? Was on me. So, like, I'm trying to be, like, sneaky because I don't want my mama to know I'm talking to this grown man. At the time, I didn't even know that man was that old. Anyway, but I was trying to sneak and talk to that man, not knowing how old he was, but he knew what was up. So, anyway, plus, I didn't want to be on the camera. You know, this is my first tiptoeing into being a skeezer. Last thing I wanted to do is be caught on national TV doing it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, me and this dude exchanged numbers or whatever. So we wound up texting. I was coming to the set with my mama for her to, you know, deal with him and whatnot. And then, you know what I'm saying? It just was, I was sneaking back to the set, girl, in my little Honda Civic, my little pluck, girl, pulling off down the road, down the driveway, girl, getting out of the car, running down the road. You know what I'm saying? The man walking me behind the building. Walking me behind the mansion, stuff like that, girl. Anyway, let's fast forward. We done got to the point where now, you know, we finna cut a rug, girl. We finna, you know what I'm saying, do we? You feel me? So this one to get weird. First of all, I never knew that man had childbearing hips. Back then, I wasn't that thick, okay? The man hips and ass was fatter than mine. So I'm already intimidated because I don't want to be in here and, you know, you hearing this and that's really his ass clapping and not mine. That's embarrassing, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so we finna do or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He kissing on me. He like, get naked. And he pull out Astroglide. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I already need that. And he like, nah, put it all over your body. So this man took this big old bottle of Astroglide, girl, and like glazed me up like a fresh donut out of Krispy Kreme, girl. I proceeded to get on top of me and just go up and down. And he was like, it just made everything feel like a coon, like a punani, a pedancy. And I'm like, okay, it's weird, you know what I'm saying? But maybe this is how grown people be doing it, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm like, I don't really like this pineapple, so let's speed this up. So then he like, oh, you know what I'm saying? You don't be sucking titties? And okay, so he like, you know what I'm saying? Because if you suck my nipples, it'll make me come harder. And I'm like, you just can't come like regular or whatever. So long story short, I wound up girl sucking at me in titties, and then he growled like a bear. He's roar, and then I left, and I never went back. And see that right there, that was my 13th reason. Okay.
That story was very entertaining and confusing because I still don't understand what happened.
We've been married 29 years. This is what we've learned.
Part 1.
You didn't marry a maid. She didn't marry an ATM. Share the burden.
You're not perfect. Don't expect them to be.
Praying for each other is essential.
Forgiveness means not throwing your partner's mistakes in the face.
Be your partner's safe space. You shouldn't have to fight the world and you. Intimacy.
It's important.
It's important.
Get ready with me to get booty butt naked in a room full of strangers on a Wednesday night, aka go to work, because I'm a scribble. I started dancing around like 2014, 2015. I was working at McDonald's at the time, and one of my friends from college had said something about, you know, wanting to go get started stripping, and it wasn't a joke for me, okay? It wasn't a joke because even when I was a manager and I was working full-time at McDonald's, I was still broke. I was broke and I did not like what I was doing, and that just was not going to work for me. She had a friend who was dancing in Alabama. I live in Tennessee. So she had a friend who was dancing in Alabama and who basically put her on, and then she was like, okay, friend, like, what's up? If you're for real, let's do it. And like I said, I was sick and tired of being broke, so I was for real. So we go to this random little ghetto ghetto, hole in the wall club in Alabama, and we auditioned. Y'all, when I first auditioned, like when I first started dancing, obviously I didn't have dancer clothes, and I don't know why, but for some reason that wasn't even like part of my thought process. I was just so down to get in the club. I didn't even think like, damn bitch, you probably need some stripper outfits. I literally went in this little lingerie set from City Gear and a pair of like regular heels from Charlotte Russe. We auditioned. I'm not sure why that man hired us, but he hired us and he let us work for the night. My first stage set was so whack. Like when I first started dancing, I used to always stare at the ceiling the entire time that I was on stage. Like, terrified. Could not make eye contact to save my life. I ended up doing a few dances and going on stage a couple times. And I think we had to pay out the club like $100, but I left with $140. And I remember posting them on my Snapchat, a whole pile of ones. $140, especially if you've never seen ones like that, it looks like a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And I was so gassed up. I was talking all that shit. We left the club at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be at work at McDonald's at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I just remember getting to work that next day, and all I could think about was fuck this shit. And even though I wanted to like quit my job immediately and just start dancing, I couldn't because at the time I didn't have a car. But baby, like a year and a half or so later, when I did get a car, I had a different job at Verizon, and I was still very unhappy there, and I was still not making enough money. So when I got a car, I started working in Nashville, and I've been working in Nashville ever since. I've been working at the same club. I've worked at the other club that they had here, but I've always had the same home club, and for the most part, I love it. I be going back and forth about how I feel about dancing in general, but for the most part, I love my club, and, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity to make money how I make money, but this shit is not always sunshines and rainbows. But anyways, hopefully tonight it's sunshines and thunderstorms. Big.
The more you know.
There is a serial shooter on the interstates in New Orleans.
Baby, I told y'all that. I call him or her the I-10 killer. It's just been too random, too many people. Y'all think it's a joke. I'm telling you.
So, just like I talked about the guy that was slashing people in New Orleans, they're also saying that they have a I-10 killer. So, I don't know what is going on. According to New Orleans News, though, they said that there is no serial killer in New Orleans, but just to stay safe. But they said that at least 26 people have been shot in New Orleans so far this year on the freeway, which is kind of strange. And that's according to NOLA.com. So 7 shootings were fatal as of December 19th. The pace has been increasing in recent years. In June, 2 people were shot on I-10 within 4 hours. 2 separate interstate shootings were reported on the same day as well. Attacks on the highway make up relatively a small percentage of shootings. Last year was especially violent with at least 26 shootings on the interstate. So I don't know what y'all got going on in New Orleans. Y'all got a slasher and a shooter. Stay safe out there, guys.
On December 25th, 2022, 4 additional substations were attacked, all of them in Pierce County, Washington, which is part of the Tacoma, Seattle metro area, one of the most populous parts of the state, if not the populous part of the state. At least 14,000 residents had some kind of power outage. 4 additional attacks. That now brings the total to this region to 10. Since mid-November, there has been at least 10 attacks to its grid system in the Pacific Northwest. In the prior video, I discussed Moore County, North Carolina. Well, several days after Moore County was an attack in South Carolina. That means since mid-November, the United States has faced at least 12 attacks to its grid system. Less than 6 weeks, there has been at least 12 attacks. Understand this is calculated and no way isolated whatsoever, and should not be looked at as isolated either. Earlier this year, and I'm pretty sure prior, the Department of Homeland Security released an advisory bulletin saying that they believe there would be groups and individuals trying to attack the U.S.'s infrastructure in order to ensue collapse and chaos so they can take power. This is it. This is happening. We think about history. We think about the Civil War. I've said in previous videos, I think the U.S. is on the brink of another civil war. but it's going to play out differently because we're not in the 1860s. We're in modern 2022. I believe it's going to be at the state level. In 2020, we saw 4 men attempt to kidnap the governor of Michigan.
So, I don't know what's going on with these substations, but get some generators, guys, because it's been happening a lot lately.
Imagine you thinking that your husband on his workout game, he's consistently going to the gym 3 times a week. He's, then all of a sudden, one day you're at home and you have a message request on Facebook. So I open up the message request and it's a female asking me, am I married to such and such? So I'm like, yeah. She begins to tell me that they've been messing around for 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. She proceeds to tell me the reason why he don't call me on his lunch break at work is because he's spending his lunch break with her. She told me that all his friends on the job knows about her. She also told me, watch him come home with a D necklace on his neck, which resembled her first name. That man walked through our door with a D necklace on. My name start with a T and his start with an I. So y'all know what I did. I seen red. First, I'm just taking in all the information she told me, but my blood is boiling like a pot of hot water. So finally, it was boiling so hard I couldn't hold it in no more. So I said, who is such and such? If you would have seen the look on his face. By this time, I done grabbed the necklace. I'm pulling him with the necklace. I hit him on top of pulling the necklace all at once. Next thing you know, I done put my hands on him, but he done did so much that he ain't even paying attention to the fact that I done put my hands on him. So he get down on his knees, he crying, he begging, he pleading, trying to deny it. But how you gonna deny it? And I got messages, you done came in the house with her necklace on. All this, like, this man was cheating. Lying, telling me he was going to the gym and cheating. And on top of that, he told the girl that he met on Plenty of Fish that he wanted her to have his baby. Now, you from Africa, you done met somebody on Plenty of Fish, had unprotected sex with them, and told them you want them to have a baby, but you want me to save our marriage? No, sir. Once that happened, the trust and marriage was over. Trust.
Remember the lady Dawn who hates poor people that found the receipt at Costco? Ooh, I have an update for you guys. Are you ready? So this Karen out in Murrieta, California claims that she found a receipt with $613 worth of premium meat purchased at Costco with an EBT card. And there was an $1,800 balance, and she basically shamed the person who used this card to purchase their meat. Well, Twitter did their thing, and turns out old Dawn is the one who actually used the EBT card. After Dawn's tweet went viral, stealth internet users looked her up, found her Instagram, and noticed something pretty suspicious. Several of the items on the receipt she found now appeared on her Instagram, like this pork belly. And they went to her Facebook and found the steaks. They also looked Dawn up and found out that she has a $3 million PPP loan that she took out that was also forgiven. After Twitter users threatened to turn Dawn in for fraud, guess what she did? She deleted her Twitter. There's nothing worse than an anti-poor hypocrite, especially one that leads a whole trail of evidence back to themselves. Don McKenzie, do better. The internet's watching.
So he's the one with the most opinion on something that's most likely doing it themselves.
I cannot stress the importance of dating someone whose cultural background matches up to the type of man that you want. If you don't want to do the 50-50 shit, then date someone who comes from a background where men are natural providers. Middle Eastern men, African men. These American men, they're stingy. It's part of the culture. Like, the 50-50 phenomenon is part of the culture. Now, there's a lot that is wrong with the African and Middle Eastern culture as someone who's from it, but at least you don't have to worry about convincing a man to be a provider. That's natural to them. That's part of the culture. That's bred within them.
I'm 50-50 on what she's saying because those men have a history of being pretty controlling, but if you guys don't want to work, then yeah, he's going to be a provider.
This is Lucian Brownlee. He's a former basketball player and assistant head coach at Coppin State University. He's accused of posing as a woman online and forming a relationship with Eben Williams, who's also now a former player from Coppin State. As the relationship developed, he convinced Williams to send him new photos of himself. And Williams did it, but when he tried to end the online relationship, Brownlee, posing as a woman, told him he had to send more or he was going to be exposed. Williams didn't want to lose the scholarship, so he continued to send more photos. Brownlee, who was Williams' coach at the time, then approached him and told him he was also being extorted by the same person. And that online person told him that him and Williams had to have sex together, put it on video, and send it to her, or they would both be exposed. This dude's nuts. But Williams didn't want to lose the scholarship, so he agreed to do it. So he had the encounter with his coach. But it didn't end there. The online person continued to make requests of Williams. But this time Williams said, I'm not doing it anymore. But once he refused, Brownlee, posing as the woman, released the videos. And then enters Juan Dixon, the head coach, the former basketball star at the University of Maryland, and the former NBA alum. He saw the videos and pictures, and he spoke with the basketball player. He admitted that he hired Brownlee knowing that he had a mental health issue, but he took no action to remedy the situation. So Williams asked for his own investigation. He reported it himself. But a lawyer from Coppin State University grilled Williams about his side of the story. And then they took away his scholarship. They terminated it. He ultimately transferred to another school. The assistant head coach that was the creep posing as a woman was fired. But now Williams has sued everybody. The university, Juan Dixon, Brownlee, everyone. I hope he gets paid. What do y'all think?
That's really terrible and wild. And I never understand the desperation of what some people go through to keep things and maintain things. It makes me think about that don't pick up the phone thing with those people having those employees freaking strip search and all that stuff it's just super wild. And I don't even know if I talked about that yet, and I will have to do that in a separate one because that one was absolutely bananas. Let's get into our last one.
July 20th, 2002, I was assaulted by a young lady, a female. Unbeknownst to me, she was the girlfriend of a guy I had been dealing with, and she pours a concoction of liquid red devil eye mixed with Clorox. She calls my name and she dashes this on me.
So I'm like, shoot, I gotta be a man now.
I come out the coma, but I come out the coma totally blind.
In high school, I realized it more so now that it was harder for her to come to the games. I'm trying to make every catch so my mama can hear my name much as possible.
I love you, mama. What's up, mama? Let's see it. Sabrina, I love you.
That ball, it signifies love. It signifies strength.
So that is DeAndre Hopkins' mother, and she is blind. And so, yeah, that's just her story on how she went blind. And, yeah, DeAndre is always giving her the ball when he makes his touchdown. So that's a touching story. Something tragic turned good in the end. So we ended on somewhat of a good note. Stay safe out there, y'all. It is wild. Sometimes some of these stories are just so wild, but stay safe. Listen, we only have 10 minutes for me. We only have 3 days left in this year. Make this next 72 hours your best 72 hours and figure out what you're getting rid of in 2022 and not taking into 2023. Metaphorically and physically and mentally and spiritually and emotionally and all of the least. Like, let's figure it out together. F is for Family is signing out.